Welcome to Romantic Wednesdays with Poetry. I'm Alice Agnes, and yes, I'm your host. And well, I believe it's time to get real and spill some tea or coffee. So, today we will get a bit philosophical, I guess, and it will be very deep and maybe also a bit sad, because today I will talk about two poems which are closing the third cycle called New Beginnings from the second volume, Students' Notes, Open Eyes. And yes, this is a part of my debut poetry book called Once Upon a Time There Were Two Poetry Books. And well, two poems about which I will talk today are called The Definition of the Eternal Chaos and Poem About a Boundary Experience. So, at first I will read you the first poem and later I will tell you a few words about this. So, that's the definition of the eternal chaos. This poem will be chaotic, just like my life. Everything started going wrong on the day of my birth. Shall I regret that I exist? My husband forgot that he had a family. He married my soul centuries ago. Watch out, you may wake up and realize there are no dreams, there is no love. Muses play guitars for me, so I write about a life. So this poem is very characteristic, I guess, and it's called The Definition of the Eternal Chaos, and I guess this is what this poem is, and I think it's actually funny because this is what I did on purpose. So it starts like with a warning that it will be chaotic, and this poem is like the definition, but such a metaphorical what the chaos is, because every part of this poem is about something different, and we can wonder what makes it the one thing. And well, I think it's just about life, which can be sometimes chaotic. And well, the next part is about the birth, and when we think about all our failures of life, we can feel like this is where it started going wrong. But I hope you don't take it so personally, because I think it's a really sad feeling when we feel like that. And well, I also remember when I wrote this poem, and to be honest, right now I don't remember what made me write this, but I remember this very moment of writing this line, this verse. Okay, so the next part is about a husband which was married centuries ago, so it's like in the previous life. And that's why the word eternal appears in the title of this poem, because it's like, when someone is meant for us, sometimes we feel like we've known each other for centuries, and it was all written in the stars, and it's just fate. And when you realize that this man is acting like he forgot that you're meant to be, then you can feel like that and write such a verse. And well, the next part is some kind of warning again for a reader, because you have to always watch out, because sometimes when you wake up you realize that what you had is gone, and it's a very pessimistic message that there may be no more dreams anymore, no more love. And I think it's important to do everything so this feeling disappears, because I think when we feel like that, we really need someone who can make us feel better, like there's always a way, and you can always figure out things, and everything will get better in the end. So when everything feels like this is the end and you can't do anything more in your life and everything feels so hopeless, you just need a friend who can give you a hug. So this poem ends with the verse about muses playing guitars, and I did it on purpose again because I wanted to make it sound more modern, I guess, and less cliche. And well, what chaos is then? Just life. And this poem is something that should make you think about the most chaotic moments of human's life, but it's all just the example of what it can be. So I really like this poem because it's, I guess, something so different. And yes, I made some changes in this poem today, on the day of recording this podcast episode, because I felt like it was even too much chaotic at first, and right now I made it look more right. So chaos became a little less chaotic, I guess. Okay, so now another also deep poem, but about not just life but about death. So it's called Poem About a Boundary Experience. Poem about a boundary experience, which I heard is impossible to describe, but you can touch it in your dreams and write a poem then. White light is calling me 1 sec later. There's no reason to be afraid. It's just a moment. Yep. So, yeah, it's about dying in dreams. I guess we all had this kind of dreams which feel very unpleasant. For example, a few days ago, I had a very bloody kind of dream about soldiers, and there was definitely too much blood. But do you know what's the most important about this kind of dreams? That death in our dreams doesn't mean literally dying, but the change. So when you dream about dying, no matter if it's you or someone you know or you don't know, it's just all about the change which may appear in your life soon. So right now, when you know that I had this kind of dream lately, I can tell you that I guess something is really changing in my life because of the festival, I guess. And but let's come back to the poem. So it's about dreams, about dying, but I think it's important also because we all will experience it one day. And I have been closer to death than any time in the past, because my dad passed away and I saw dying so closely. And I think this is something we should pray for, to die peacefully, to pass away in such a way like I describe in this poem. Like there's no reason to be afraid. It's just a second and you're gone. And you don't need to suffer. And this is what I think is the most important, to pray for the peaceful death, because unfortunately we all gotta go through this, and we can't ask anyone to hug us then. This is something that we have to deal with on our own. And if we are believers, there's no reason to be afraid, because we will meet in a better world where there is no more suffer, and where everything will be just perfect in the end. So, yep, this poem, as I've already told you, is really, really deep. And, I heard during my studies that it's impossible to describe this kind of boundary experience that dying is. But I guess I wanted to show in this poem that it's possible. And it's actually made of two parts. One is literally the poem about the boundary experience, and the first verse is simply, some kind of beginning that shows you that moment of writing. And it's some kind of comment to this poem. So, during the first year of my studies, I started to feel so experimental when it comes to poetry, and this poem is one of such examples. Yep. So I think that's all that I can tell you about these two very dark poems, but I hope you will get a little bit better in the next episode, because we'll talk about September Hopes. It's just one poem made of two poems, so it's one cycle. So I will talk about this in just one episode, and later we'll go to songs. Yep, I will talk about nothing but music. So a little bit of September Hopes Undone. This is how this poem is called from this cycle, made of two poems, or actually three. Oh, you see, I forgot about this. That it's three poems, that too. But I wrote this actually twice, and that's probably what I remember in my mind. But well, I will tell you more about the cycle, about these poems in the next episode. Yep, and later nothing but music. So I guess it will get kinda exciting, and it's really the end of new beginnings, but it's also really the beginning of something totally new. Yeah. So right now you know everything about those two closing poems from the first cycle. You know what is happening in the nearest future. So I can tell you right now nothing else but until the next time.